passion, colors glow.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Tokenize with Mahesh. In this episode, we are going to talk about crypto legal and compliance for founders. In other words, you will learn what founders need to know before they launch their tokens. By any means, this is not a legal advice. If you're launching your token, any kind of cryptocurrency, I highly recommend you must have somebody on your team or hire some attorney or lawyer that deals with cryptocurrency in your country where you live. So, before anything else, you need to know what exactly is your token. What kind of token are you launching? What is its purpose? What it behaves like? Is the token behaves like a security? Is it behaves like a commodity? Is it works as a payment instrument? Or is it a loyalty or a reward unit for some work? Is it a governance token? Or sometimes can be a combination of more than one. That plays a major role, so you need to understand that. Then you need to think about, is it going to be a security token or a utility token? Because launching a security token is a major compliance and legal work, and it requires a lot of time and also um, money, obviously. So just quick check, if a token is sold to raise capital, it's marketed with future value promises tied to your team's execution and expected to appreciate, it will be executed as a security token. And I'll discuss this more in my next slide. In the US, SEC uses something called the Howey test to check if a token is a security token or not. In Europe, they use MiCA framework to see if the token is a security token or not. So what is Howey test? Let's quickly check it. Howey test has these four conditions, and all of these are four conditions are met, then a token is a security token. If all four are not met, then it's not a security token. So number one is the investment of money or something of value, including crypto. In other words, investors are investing money to get those tokens, and if everybody wins or loses based on some work or some project, the buyers of the token, which are investors, expect to make money in form of either revenue sharing, staking, or any kind of price appreciation. And the last is the effort of team, founder, core group makes it possible. In other words, the team doing the work, and because of team's work, the value is being appreciated, and people are buying these tokens, expecting returns in form of appreciation. All those conditions are met, makes a token a security token. Just because you're a founder and you can say that, oh, let's create, this is a utility token, doesn't make it a utility. You have to prove it, okay, using this Howey test in the US. Also keep in mind that decentralized, saying it that this token is decentralized, not decentralized, unless it's truly decentralized. If the control is centralized, in other words, if your tokens are being controlled by your company or your team, it's not really decentralized. The data may be stored on a blockchain, but the token is not decentralized. So let's break it down quickly. Token is not a utility if you are selling tokens to fund development, promising growth or value, retaining control over upgrades and treasury, and marketing to investors instead of users. So utility token focuses on users of a platform. For example, if you have a platform and you want users to get involved and engage in that platform and say, oh, you can earn the tokens, You can also buy the tokens to use the tokens on the platform. You can use tokens for different features, perks, memberships, or pay as gas fees. For example, Ethereum and Polygon blockchains, right? Those are utility tokens because people buy those tokens, they can spend those tokens as gas fees. However, a lot of people buy just to invest in them. That's fine, and they expect returns in them. That is fine. That's acceptable. I'm not saying that you should not expect returns on the token. You can definitely expect returns, but there has to be utility of the token. Let's talk about jurisdiction strategies and global exposure. When you launch a token, it's global by default. If you don't define anything, the token itself is by default is a global token. And there are few things you have to keep in mind. Number one is where the foundation of your company is incorporated, that mints and kind of creates the token, right? You also have to think then after a token is created or minted, who manages the token, what is the governance, where is that foundation is registered. Sometimes the idea is you can use one of the countries where token launch is easy, compliance and regulations are very crypto friendly. You create a token there. You can also create a foundation in the same country or different country where crypto regulations are easy and foundations are supported, such as Cayman Island. And then that foundation is becomes the manages the whole your treasury and your tokens. Besides that part, you have to think about where the token issuer legally reside, including the team members and the board members. When you have a foundation, you usually have board members. For example, in Cayman, you probably have 4 board members. These board members, you have to think about where they legally reside and what laws applies on these legal citizens there. You also need to think about which countries are excluded from your token investors or launches, and how access controls are enforced, and how disclosures are localized. In other words, if you are offering your token sale to a country, local country, you have to follow those local laws. Tokenomics plays a major role. It also plays a major role even deciding how tokens should be launched. So it should be very clear and transparent in your white paper. The tokenomics should explain clearly what is the total supply, what does emission schedule look like, what is the team and investor vesting schedule when the tokens are released, right? For team members and investors, when can they sell? What is the lockup period look like? What is the unlock timeline look like? And end of the day, what is the minting and burn mechanism? Then last thing is governance and decision authority. This plays a major role as well. So in other words, you must clearly identify who can change the protocol, who controls treasury assets, who can pause and upgrade contracts and also smart contracts. And in case of disputes, how they're resolved and how emergency actions are handled. Besides the launching, post launch, you also have to think about how compliance is going to be handled. Who is managing your regulatory compliance? I highly recommend that it should be an attorney who has dealt with crypto before. Also, report and auditing, tax consideration, treasury control, and how communications are handled. So, with that said, I hope you like this. Today, we talked about legal and compliance. If you want to learn about how some of the tokens are launched and handled, I highly recommend go to sharpeconomy.org. There is a utility token called Sharp Token of Sharp Economy. It's purely based on learn to earn, contribute to earn, and participate to earn economy. That clearly explains. There's a everything we discussed in this episode. It's written in white paper. I highly recommend you to check it out. With that said, I hope you liked today's show. You learned something new. This show I do every week, Tokenize with Mahesh. Now our next episode is 12. I will talk about how to build a real world asset token. Real RW tokens are growing space right now. You can tokenize real estate, gold, and other physical assets. And as I said, this space is growing very fast. So if you have any thoughts about that, you want to learn more about, come back and join my episode next week. Thank you.
Brew, what are you doing?
Just scrolling memes, bro. Killing time.
Wasting time again? You could be earning rewards instead.
Rewards? From memes?
No, from the Sharp Rewards app. It's got a quiz feature that boosts your IQ and gives rewards for every correct answer.
Wait, seriously? You get rewards for answering right? Exactly. Learn and earn, bro. Way better than memes.
That's it. I'm downloading it right now.